Hi friends, my name is Akil Ahmed and in this particular video tutorial we will talk about loading multiple sheets with different schema in SSIS. So the agenda of today's video tutorial is load multiple Excel sheets with a different schema in SSIS, and actually recently I got some requests to make a video on this particular topic, so that's why I'm going to make a video now. So we will be using two for each loop containers in this particular example. First for each loop container will be used to loop through all Excel files in a particular folder. Second for each loop container will be used to iterate through sheets in a particular Excel file. We will be using for each loop ADO.NET schema rosette enumerator to read the Excel sheet name from the Excel file. So in this tutorial we will be loading data from two different Excel sheets. So the sheet name will be employee and city, and the file name will be file underscore 2019-0125.xlsx, and then there will be another file named file underscore 2019-0126.xlsx. So we will be loading data to SQL Server table named tbl employee and then tbl city. So this is the screenshot from the Excel file for employee. So we have like employee ID from 1 to 10, and then first name, last name, email, gender and phone number. And then we have data for city sheet. So we have city ID and then like city name, its state, zip code and the country. So without wasting time, let's jump to the demo. So this is the folder where our Excel files are located. They are situated in C files folder, and the file names are file underscore 2019 025 and 26. So let's open one of the file. So if you check that we have two sheets, employee and city. So the employee sheet contains this data. For employee there are 10 records in the first sheet ranging from 1 to 10, and then there is another city which contains the city name. So if you check that we have 1 2 3 4 5 6, we have 6 columns in the first sheet, and then we have 1 2 3 4 5 columns in the second sheet. Okay, and each sheet contains 10 records, and their id ranges from 1 to 10. And now let's check the another sheet as well. So this particular sheet, it contains data for employee, and then the id ranges from 11 to 20, and it contains some different employee records. And then the for city as well, the id ranges from 11 to 20. So maybe we can like modify, if like for example I can put like 21 22 and then like 13 14. So that's fine. We can put any number here, like I can put 101, so that you can actually identify these records easily with these IDs. Okay, now let me save this particular sheet, and now let's go to the SQL Server. So this is my SQL Server 2014 developer edition, and I have two tables here, tbl employee and id is in integer column, so it's not an identity column, and it will be populated from the Excel. And all these columns like first name, last name, email, gender and phone number, all this will be populated from the first sheet. And then there will be another table tbl city. So this, the data in this particular table, it will be populated from the city Excel sheet. So if you will rerun this particular query, so what it will do, it, if the table will be there, so it will drop the table and then it will recreate all these two tables. So, and if you will run the select query for these two tables, so you will see that both the tables are empty as of now. So now without wasting time, let's create the SSIS package which can actually load data from multiple Excel sheets to these two tables. So this is my Visual Studio 2015 that I will be using to create the SSIS package. And first of all, we need to create two SSIS variables. So right click, go to variables. So we will be creating two variables. The first variable will be file path, which will actually contain the path of the Excel sheet that we are loading. So we can give the data type as string, and then for the design purpose, for design time, let's put a initial value into this particular variable so that we can validate the data flow task. And now let's create another SSIS variable as well, and its name can be like sheet name. So because it will contain the sheet name at any particular point of time. So for example, if it will be looping through the Excel file, so that it can catch the employee sheet name and then the city sheet name into it. The data type of this variable will be string as well, because the sheet name will be of string type. So now let's put in default value here as well, employee, and then the dollar sign. Okay, so we have put the initial values for the sheet name variable and the file path SSIS variable. Okay, now let's drag and drop a for each loop container into the control flow window. So this for each loop container, what it will do, it will actually loop through all Excel files in a particular folder. So let's name it loop through all Excel files in a folder. Okay, and then configure it, right click and edit it, go to the collection. For each file, enumerator is pre-selected, so that is what we wanted. We don't need to change anything in this. And under the folder option, let's browse the folder where both the Excel files are situated. So they are situated under C files directory. Okay, we want to load the files where those ends with XLSX. So we want to load all the Excel files. Okay, and now let's go to the variable mapping. Under variable mapping, we want to assign the value of the file path, Excel file path, to the file path SSIS variable, and the index will be 0, because that is the only value that is being fetched from the iteration of this for each loop container. So we are done with configuring the for each loop container for looping through files. And now let's drag and drop another for each loop container which will loop through all the Excel sheets in a particular Excel file. Let's name this particular for each loop container as loop through all sheets a in an Excel file. Okay, and now let's configure this particular for each loop container as well. So right click and select edit, and then under collection we need to select for each loop, for each Aereo.NET schema rosette enumerator. Okay, and now let's make a new connection here. Let's create a new connection. So from the provider, we need to expand this one, .NET providers for OLEDB, and then we need to select Microsoft Office 12.0 Access Database Engine OLEDB provider. Okay, and then under the server or file name, we need to provide the Excel file path here. So let's provide the Excel file path, the file that we want to loop through, and then go to the all, and under extended properties we need to write Excel 12.0. this is the version of the Excel file. Okay, so the destination is succeeded. Okay, okay, and now under schema we need to select the tables. Okay, and now go to the variable mappings. Under the variables we need to select the sheet name, because the sheet name variable will be populated with the actual sheet name that is being read from the Excel file, and the index will be 2 here. Click OK. And now what we need to do is let's drag and drop a data flow task here. So this particular data flow task, it's a dummy data flow task that won't do anything. Let's call it dummy DFT. Okay, and now let's drag and drop a data flow task to load the data for employee. Load employee data. Okay, and now let's drag and drop a data flow task for load the city data. So let's call it load city data. Okay, and now let's configure both the data flow tasks. So the first data flow task, right click on it, select edit, and then under constraint select expression and constraint, and then click on this three dots. Under the variables, what we need to do, we need to check like if the sheet name contains the employee sheet name. If for example if it's the employee sheet name, then we need to load the data for the employee, and select OK. And if it is the city Excel sheet, then we need to load the data for city. So let's drag and drop here, and then city dollar. Okay, evaluate expression. Okay, okay. So what will happen is the the outermost for each loop container will loop through all the Excel files, like to first Excel file and then the second Excel file. So when it will loop through first Excel file, it will go inside another for each loop container, and this for each loop container will loop through all the Excel sheets. So when it will loop through first Excel sheet, so the sheet name will be employee. So it will go to here, this particular data flow task, and then it will load the data for employee. In the second iteration, the value of the Excel sheet will change from employee to city, and then this particular condition will pass, so it will load data for city. So now let's actually put some code so that they can load data for employee and the city. So double click on the employee data flow task. Let me drag and drop an Excel source here so that it can load data for employee. Right click and configure it. New. Browse the Excel file. This one. Okay. Okay. And then under table or view, we need to select table or view name variable. And then under variable name, we need to select the sheet name, because we need to load the data for the employee sheet. So if you see, these are the columns for the employee, and even if you will click on preview, so you will see that these are the employee data actually. Click close, click OK, and now let's drag and drop the OLEDB destination and then map the Excel source with the OLEDB destination. Right click on OLEDB destination and then configure it. Click new. This is the testing database actually on my localhost machine. Click OK, and then change it to table or view fast load so that it can do a bulk insert. And the table name is TPL employee. Navigate to mappings, so all the columns are mapped automatically. Click OK, and similarly configure the city. Let's drag and drop Excel source, and now before continuing further, let's change the value of the sheet name from employee to city, so that we can map the columns from source to destination. And now let's drag and drop OLEDB destination, configure the Excel source. So under table name or view name variable, select the Excel sheet SSIS variable, then navigate to columns. So now it's showing the columns for the city, and if you will click on preview, so you will see data from the city sheet. Okay, click close, click OK, and now let's connect it with the OLEDB destination, and now configure the OLEDB destination for it. Choose the TBL city to which we want to load the data to. Navigate to mappings, so all the columns mapped automatically. So we have configured all our SSIS package. However, two things are remaining as of now before running the SSIS package. The first thing is that if you click on the connection manager for this one, and if you go to the properties, so you will see that there is a connection string property that is currently hard coded. So we need to make this connection string as the dynamic. So let's select whatever is in the connection string and then expand the expressions. Click on these three dots, and now let's select the connection string property, go to the expressions, and now after writing a double quotes, paste whatever whatever we selected from the connection string, and then close the double quotes. Now we need to replace the value, the hard-coded value here with the file name, Excel file path. So let's provide the file path here. Evaluate expression. So expression evaluated successfully. So now it's dynamic. So now any number of files can be loaded with this. Okay. So this was one of the setting, and now there is another one. This is for particular Excel file. So Excel file path property, this particular property contains the Excel file path. So what we need to do is we need to make this particular property dynamic as well, because right now it's hard coded and every time it will load the data from this particular file. So expand the expressions, go to expressions, select the Excel file path property, and then we need to assign the file path SSIS variable to it, so that every time the loop will iterate, it will the outermost loop will iterate, it will fetch the latest file. So for example, right now there are two files, so we can put any number of files, it can load any number of files. So without wasting time, now let's run the SSIS package. Okay, so SSIS package ran successfully and it has loaded data to localhost.testing database. Okay, so if you select data from here, so you will see that 20 records got loaded. So these 10 records came from the first file, Excel file, these 10, and then the rest of the records, 10 records, it came from the second Excel file. You remember we changed the IDs from 101 and 102, and similarly if you will check that first 10 records came from the first Excel file, and then the second, these records came from the second Excel file. Okay, so guys, this is how we can load data from multiple Excel sheets. Thank you guys for watching the video, and if you like the video, then please click the like button and do subscribe to our channel to see more videos and SSIS and other technologies. Thank you so much.